hood up, remove the oil cap. Place the oil cap where the hood will close, so you don't forget to put the oil cap back on before you finish. Get your funnel, place it in the hole. You'll be needing it after. Get your washer fluid, top it up. Now we're ready to lift. Because I have a low ceiling, I leave the hood down when I lift the vehicle up. Set up your drain for your oil pan for the oil. That is your oil drain plug. Drain plug. The one on the vehicle is actually a 13 millimeter. Very gentle. You don't want to make a mess. This is my method. It is actually a very easy oil change to do even on the ground if you don't have a lift. As long as you have a jack with jack stands, very simple to do. Always warm up the vehicle before you do the oil change to get it nice and hot, flows better, and you'll get all the crap out of it. Just go for a nice drive right before you start your oil change, especially in the winter. In the summer it's not too bad. I'm fairly certain that this vehicle has a head gasket leak because you can see some remnants of coolant in the oil there. I don't know if you can see that from that far away. And it was losing coolant last year, but it's such an old vehicle that it's just not worth putting a ton of money into it. So we're going to do the oil change. We're going to see where any leaks are coming from, and we're going to evaluate whether it's worth doing the work on the vehicle or not. This vehicle has around 220,000 kilometers. It's a 2008 Chevy Equinox, 2-wheel drive, base model. Just slowly. I have another oil pan that can speed up the process. Just let all the old oil drain out as best as you can. You get your new oil filter, and especially filters like this that you can put a little bit of oil into. You want to put a little bit of oil in the filter to prime it. Not too much. Put some on the gasket to lubricate it. And once it stops dripping, you're going to wipe the surface area down, the mating surface of the oil filter housing. and I'll show that to you just right now. You want to make sure that there's no residue from the old gasket. Wipe off any oil that you see as best as you can. I have primed the new filter. It has oil in it and it's lubricated. And now we want to put it back up and screw it in. Hand tight. Very simple. You can't mess this up. Just as much as you can. It doesn't have to be overkill. You'll know right away if it's leaking. And now we're just going to wait for the oil to finish draining. It's had the original drain plug on there for as long as I've known. And yeah, it's about time to put a new gasket on there, a new drain plug. I know that's one of the many leaks that it had. The torque on this is 18 foot. That's it. There's a new drain plug. As you can see, there seems to be a little bit of a coolant leak here. And if you trace it all the way up, looks like it's coming from above the head gasket. So it's probably a gasket up there leaking. And you can see like it's wet here. That's oil. That's probably just the oil pan gasket itself. We'll get to that at some point in the summer when the weather's nicer. So you can see here, there's some more oil leaking. The front side is pretty dry. Oil always tends to go back. And if you see that right there, see how it's kind of like dark and wet? Well, that is the oil filter housing. It has a housing on it. You see it's kind of wet? There's also a gasket behind there, very easy to change. As you can see right there, that's the front timing cover seal, which is leaking also. It's been leaking for years. Usually just dripping, but only recently has it really begun to show how bad it's getting. So now we'll just lower the vehicle down. You now put engine oil back in. It takes 4.3 liters. We'll start it and then check it. This is a 5-liter jug. Filter will get a pretty accurate reading without even starting the vehicle, but always start the vehicle and run it for a few seconds before you check the oil, and then you should be waiting minimum a minute or two before you check the oil. See, right now I know my oil level is perfect, but once I start the vehicle, all the oil will go into all the oil galleries, then you'll get a more accurate reading. So for now, we'll take this off. Put the oil cap on. As you can see, some of that milky film there. I don't know if you can see that. That's indication that your coolant is mixing with your oil. Whereas if you found oil in your coolant, that's indication your oil is mixing with your coolant. Sometimes you can have both happening both ways, and sometimes it's only happening one way. So this is something we already knew was wrong with this vehicle to begin with. We're not going to concern ourselves with it because the vehicle is a lot older. So now we can give it a quick start. Or checking anything else on the vehicle that you may be wondering about. Me, I'm going to check that leak. See that right there? That's coolant. It's almost like calcified. Once it leaks out and dries out. After you have completed the oil change, done any inspections you need to do, don't forget to put the oil cap back on. Look around, make sure you leave no tools on the cowl. Make sure your washer fluid's topped up. All the fluids are good. There are two ways to reset the oil off on this vehicle. You can turn the key on, press the accelerator pedal down 3 times, and then turn the key off, and it'll reset the oil life. Or you can also toggle in the information switch, and once you reach the oil life screen, you hold the check mark on the center dash until it resets to 100, and now you are reset. And that is how you reset the oil life on a 2008 Chevy Equinox. Thank you.